Hey guys, today I'm going to be showing off all the films that I own from one of my favorite film directors and writers, and that person is John Hughes. Now, as you guys know, one of my favorite films of all time was written by him, and as I grew up, I of course saw a lot of his other films. When I was younger, I didn't know that there were some movies that I knew was written by him or directed by him, and some films that I didn't when I was younger. But as I got older, I've come to find out that a lot of my favorite films were either written or he directed or he just had a part in them. And he's definitely had an amazing career in film, and there's so many timeless movies that he has done, and whenever you see a John Hughes film, you're watching one of his films. Just by the way it is, by the feeling you get watching it. He was really great in combining both really heartwarming moments, really great characters that you really believed in and you really wanted to see succeed, or if maybe they were bad characters, bad people, then you wanted to see them fail. He had a really great way of building characters, and they were characters you believed in, and they felt like real people. Just heartwarming moments. For his comedies, his movies were really, they had some pretty funny moments in them. Like, he was definitely somebody that knew how to get the right mix of comedic moments and, and just great moments of, family and heartwarming moments, sad moments. He was a great storyteller, and he really knew how to put together a great story with just great people, great characters, and he was definitely, in my opinion, one of the greatest directors and writers in film, period, like in history. And there are so many movies that he worked on that I unfortunately have not seen all of his films that he's worked on, and I don't own all of his films. I actually have seen more films than I own, and I'm eventually going to get to them. I hope to see all of his films, or at least all the films he's really directed and written. I know that he also produced a lot of films as well, and I have a couple of the films that he's produced, or I've seen a few of them, but there's a lot of films that I have not seen, and whenever I do see another film that I know that he was a part of, you get that same feeling, because there's some directors that when you see a movie by them, you know that they had a part in it. You know that they either wrote it or you just feel it, And John Hughes is definitely somebody that, he was somebody that when you saw a John Hughes film, you knew you were watching a John Hughes movie, and for the most part, he brought out a lot of emotion in you, and I think that a lot of his really great films spark a lot of great emotions in people. So yeah, I'm just gonna go ahead and get started. And the first two movies I'm gonna show off, I've talked about them so many times, so I'm not gonna talk a lot about them, but they're definitely two of my all-time favorite movies, and those are Home Alone 1 and Home Alone 2. And as you guys know, I grew up with both of these movies. There were movies I would watch over and over again. And like I said, they were, of course, the beginning of me really loving John Hughes films. And one thing I've noticed about, in this movie and in a lot of other films that he's done, he always loves, sort of the family, I'd say. He does a lot of films where there's really a big family, and they always live in a very big, beautiful house. That's, I think, something that he put in a lot of his films. He really, he really loved putting just big, beautiful homes, and there was always a home, just a home feeling in his movies. If you guys can understand that, like he always had just sort of a family atmosphere in a lot of his movies, and especially in the first two Home Alone movies. I also know that he worked on Home Alone 3 as well, which I know a lot of people, they hate. I've always enjoyed them. But now I'm going to go on over, and I already took out the movies that he's worked on, and they're right here. Like I said, I have a pretty small collection of his films, but I'm always looking to pick up more. So I'll just talk about them real. First one is The Breakfast Club. Definitely one of the greatest high school movies of all time. Basically you got five very different, teenagers from different backgrounds, and they come together in this movie, and they realize that they're not so different, and I think that that's I think that's a great thing to say about high school, and this movie really, I can really relate to this movie because, back in high school, everybody has their own trends, their own groups, and when you're in high school, there's a lot of things that separate people, there's a lot of things that separate different types of people, and you got the popular kids, the jocks, the goths, the girls that want to be prom queen, all of that. And this movie sort of just puts them all together and puts them in one room and makes them talk to each other, and makes them communicate with each other. And, it's really an amazing movie, and it's it's one of my newer favorite films. I didn't grow up watching this or anything. I actually saw this a few years back, I believe. So it's a newer film to me, but it's, I think, still one of my favorite films now. And now this next one is one of my all-time favorite comedies, and that is Planes, Trains, and Automobiles with Steve Martin and John Candy. And like I said, when I was talking about characters that you really believed in, you really believed in both of these characters. You got Steve Martin, he's just a businessman, and and he's just, he wants to get home to his family for Thanksgiving. And again, that brings up the family atmosphere in these films. And he runs into John Candy's character, who basically just makes his entire journey a living hell. And there's moments where they both get at each other. There's a lot of funny moments. Of course, probably one of the funniest moments is when they both wake up in bed together, and Steve Martin's like, where's your other hand? And John Candy's like, it's between two pillows. And Steve Martin's like, those aren't pillows. I think that's probably one of the funniest moments in this movie, and this is definitely a classic film. And also, when I talk about emotion, of course there's one scene when they're in the hotel, and Steve Martin just goes off on John Candy and talks about how annoying he is, and then John has that amazing speech. It's like, you want to hurt me? My customers like me, my wife likes me, and he pretty much just sort of goes down and says, hey, this is who I am, and either you like me or you don't. I don't, and I don't need you to, come down on me, because I could care less if you like me or not. And that was it's one of the most popular speeches. It's been parodied so many times, and it's just an amazing scene of John Candy sticking up for himself. Or in the movie, Del Griffin, he sticks up for himself and, basically put Steve Martin sort of on the spot. And that's a really an emotional scene, I'd say, because you can tell that what Steve Martin said really hurt him, and then he comes over and he just says, well, this is who I am, and then that sort of shuts Steve Martin up. And as the movie goes on, of course, they continue putting each other through hell, but they both become friends at the end, and it's a great ending. And of course, probably another one of the funny scenes is when Steve Martin goes off on the woman at the car, the rental car place. You can start by giving me a fucking automobile, a fucking Datsun, a fucking Toyota, a fucking Mustang, a fucking Buick, 4 fucking wheels and a seat. That's probably one of the funniest, scenes of a character that's going off. And that's just a great movie. Then I got this double feature of two great John Candy films right here. Uncle Buck is one of my all-time favorite comedies as well. And probably one of the funniest John Candy films, in my opinion. And The Great Outdoors is another really great one as well. You got both John Candy and Dan Aykroyd going at each other, trying to show their family the best, outdoor experience. And they both have, ideas of what they think is what they think is the best, the best way to enjoy the outdoors, and it's just another great one. Then we have another great high school film, Ferris Bueller's Day Off. Definitely a classic movie, and truly it's one movie I think that a lot of high schoolers wish that they could do. I think a lot of high schoolers wish that they could just skip one day and just go out and like get in a parade or go to a museum and just enjoy life. And I think that that's one thing about this movie. The message of this movie, I think, is just enjoy life. Just stop every once in a while and smell the roses, you know. Or as Ferris would say, life moves pretty fast. If you don't stop to enjoy it, you might miss it. Next one is another high school film, 16 Candles. Again, they're a great movie. I love, you know, I think Anthony Michael Hall and Molly Ringwald are a great they have great chemistry. You know, he's sort of the goofy, you know, dorky kid, and she's kind of like, you know, she's upset that no one, you know, everybody forgot her birthday, and it's just an all around another just amazing movie. Now this is one I actually have not seen, but it's Only the Lonely, and I feel like I should see it. It's John Candy, you know, and Ali Sheedy, which again from The Breakfast Club, and just you know, one movie that I've heard good things about, so I should check out. And the last two ones I'm going to show off in this video are two definitely great ones. Dennis the Menace. This is the movie that, you know, is inspired by the comic strip. I really did enjoy this movie. I really liked Christopher Lloyd's character as like the bumbling, the burglar in it, and Dennis the Menace just, you know, he's, you know, the burglar sort of, well, Dennis runs away, and, you know, he sort of just tortures this burglar, and of course, you know, he's always, you know, annoying Mr. Wilson and causing him so much pain, and I think it's a great adaptation of the classic, you know, just the classic comic strip. And the next one is definitely one remake that I really do enjoy, and it's the Miracle on 34th Street remake with Mara Wilson, who everybody probably remembers as Matilda. And this was a great remake, in my opinion. I enjoy the original film, but I enjoy this one a bit more. I just really enjoyed this movie. And that's it. And like I said, I know this is a pretty small collection, but I've seen a lot of his other films that I just don't own. I've seen all the Vacation movies, which I eventually need to pick up. I've seen Flubber, 101 Dalmatians. I saw Drillbit Taylor, which I know he didn't really, it was more of just a character he created. And I've seen a few other of his films. And, you know, I've enjoyed every single movie that I've seen him do, and I really do want, and I'm really looking forward to seeing the rest. So, anyway, guys, like I said, I know this collection is pretty small, but I'm always on the lookout for more of his films, and I do plan on picking up a lot more of his movies, like I said, the Vacation films, Flubber. There's just the 101 Dalmatians, the live action movie. There's so many other films that he's done that I still need to pick up. But anyway, guys, thanks to everyone for watching. Let me know what you guys think about all the movies I talk about in this video, and let me know what your thoughts on John Hughes, and what is your favorite film by him. You know, and like I said, I absolutely love his movies. You know, they have there's just a feeling about each movie that he does, you know, rather it be with the characters, the emotions, you know, great comedic moments, and even the music in a lot of his films. I really love the type of music that he uses in his films, especially in Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, and Uncle Buck, and scenes like that. There's great music, and I'm not talking about the songs, I'm talking about like the score of the movies. But yeah, anyway, guys, thanks for watching. Like I said, let me know what you guys think about these movies. Let me know what you think about John Hughes, and what is your favorite film by him. Anyway, guys, thanks for watching, and I'll see you all in the next video.